This week we're talking about why you feel stuck and what you can do about it. Feeling stuck. It doesn't get much worse than that. That feeling of not being able to change, not really being able to make a decision. Even if you could make a decision, it probably wouldn't matter anyways. This is a story you tell yourself. Just feeling stuck, unable to change. But what is the fundamental reason behind change? When people do change, and it may be rare, but it can happen. When people do change, what's the fundamental reason behind why they change? What do they do that nobody else does who cannot change? They take consistent action. Change comes down to consistent action, which is a logical fallacy, an example of what, begging the question, what we talked about last week, of course. Obviously, consistent change or consistent action causes change, but consistent action is change. If you could take consistent action, then you're changed. So we have to look at, if we're not going to commit any logical fallacies here, unlike every cognitive behavioral therapist, we're not going to do that, then we have to look at the fundamental cause of consistent action. How do we get you to the state of consistent action, which is essentially the same thing as change? And how we get there is through our emotions. Look, if you want consistent change, you're going to have to make different decisions. And decisions come down to emotions. In fact, it's almost impossible. Nay, I would say it is impossible effectively to make a decision without emotions. Look at people who have damaged limbic systems because of brain damage or whatever it happens to be. There's lots of reasons. And they don't have a well-functioning limbic system. I know there's various parts of this limbic system, but we're simplifying it here. And they can't make decisions. You hand them a menu in a restaurant, they'll look at the menu, they will be unable to make a decision. Decisions are at their core emotional, so if we want to change our decisions, to change who you are, to get you to the place of consistent action, then we need to change our emotions. And I would say specifically the kind of decisions that we need to make are, we need to make uncomfortable decisions. We need to get more comfortable with uncomfortable decisions, and so the road to that, the bridge to that, is getting more comfortable with uncomfortable emotions. And how do we diagram out, how do you know what emotions to talk about and who to talk about them with? Guess what? I have a diagram for that. You know my goal is to be taught at Harvard Business School one day, so I just make diagrams for everything. I'm a big fan of the 2x2, but this week we're going to go to a 3x3. So over here you have people who you can talk to on level of difficulty. So this person is very easy to talk to. Let's say a close friend or a therapist. Very easy to be open with this person. This person here, not quite as easy to be open with. Maybe friends, maybe your girlfriend, maybe your boyfriend, whoever it happens to be. And this person down here is very difficult to talk to. A boss, an authority figure, maybe your parents, your professor, anybody who you feel like you need to hide from in order for them to, or in order to get their approval. Anybody approval you're seeking. A lot of people, everybody's a 3 to talk to. And these are issues. These are topics. And in ascending order of difficulty, a 1 would be an easy topic to talk about. The weather, the sports team, whatever it happens to be. 2 would be a little bit more difficult. These are usually situations in your life. And then 3, the most difficult thing for a lot of people to talk about is about themselves. What's going on with them, their strengths, their flaws. For a lot of people, it's more difficult for them to talk about their strengths than their flaws, their responsibilities. Really getting honest with what's going on with you. That would be a 3. So we do basic multiplication here. 6, 6, and then 9. And this diagrams out what is difficult to talk about and how you need to take a 9 down here or a 6 here or a 6 here, and how do we make that into a 3 or a 2 or even a 1. And the way to do that, the real key here to all this down here, the 4s, the 6s, and the 9s, really getting honest with people about what's going on with you, no longer hiding or doing anything like that. The key to doing that is right here. This would be therapy. This would be talking with somebody in a confidential setting, getting really honest about the 3s, your strengths, your flaws, your emotions, what's really going on with you. You get good with that, and then what happens is something called the therapy suck. Not the therapy stuck. The therapy suck is going to unstuck you. So what happens when you get really good with this? This becomes a 2, or maybe this becomes a 1. And then what happens with this? This will become a 5 or a 4 or a 3, and this becomes an 8, 7, 6. And then what happens when down here talking about with your boss about a serious issue with you, or something that's just personal, just a personal issue? What happens when this becomes a 5? Well, there's going to be something else down here, right? There's something else here that's a 10 that you don't even see. You don't even see it, and you don't see that you don't see it. That's the definition of denial. It's outside of your awareness, and you don't even know that it's outside of your awareness. Now, this is going to start to come up into your consciousness. Yeah, everything here this is all consciousness, right? This is all above the line of consciousness. This is what you are aware of, but there are things that are outside your awareness. Another way to diagram this out, if this isn't helpful, is to, I'm just going to redraw this in a little bit different way to make it bigger. So this would be here. This is anger or anxiety. Or anxiety. Doesn't matter, either one. This is unconscious anger, which would be depression, or unconscious anxiety, which is OCD. And therapy is right about here. And you talk about what's going on here, and it just drives everything up into consciousness and everything down here. This is in your unconscious, things you are avoiding, and you don't even know that you're avoiding them. This comes up to here. And why this matters, things you are in denial about, things you're hiding from and you don't even know it, is because this is the reason why you're stuck. This is the reason why it's difficult to make decisions. This is the reason, this orb of denial. This is the reason. In fact, that's a good name for it. This orb of denial is the reason why you are stuck. Why specifically you can't make decisions. Or if you could, you convince yourself that it doesn't even matter anyways. This is what's keeping you from awareness. And it's ultimately awareness, specifically emotional awareness, is what's going to get you unstuck eventually. And then, you're going to see issues down here that you've never even were able to see before. You're going to see people over here. Well, now I'm running on top of myself. This wasn't the most planned out thing. But there's going to be people over here, or I guess people down here. Excuse me. I got that backwards. There's going to be people down here that you wouldn't even be able to see. They wouldn't have been in your perception. It wouldn't even have been possible for you to even think about reaching out with them or talking with them. But you're not going to get there. You're not going to just make those decisions until you get much more comfortable with consciously what's going on, or consciously what you're avoiding. What ultimately happens is that when we confront what we are consciously avoiding, what we are unconsciously avoiding comes to the surface, and it's about just fueling that process of bringing the unconscious up through the therapy suck. And that's what's going to unstuck you. That's what's going to help you to make better decisions. That's what's going to help you reach out and connect more ultimately again unstucking your life. And that's it for this week. I hope this was helpful. Please like and subscribe. I think I can diagram this out in a better way. Again, this is looking a little beautiful mindy. That's okay. Like and subscribe. And you know the payment for these videos. These aren't free. The payment is, of course, talking about this with your at least one friend, at least one person, diagramming it out, hopefully better than what I did here. But yeah, like and subscribe, talk, just keep talking, opening your yappity yap yap, and always remember that before you act on it, you first need to be able to talk on it.